one of their primary areas of focus is education. And there's a lot that is going right and well with public education here in Utah. And sometimes we forget that because it's the negative stories, it's the stories that surprise us and shock us that make the news. And those are the stories that so often just consume our time and our thoughts. And they should, in a way, because our kids, our grandkids, nieces, nephews, neighbors, we're all part of this public education system. So I'm also adjunct faculty, and I get the opportunity to see seniors as they come out of high school and make that transition to college life. Are they prepared? Are they ready for the demands of higher education? And in many ways, they are. But there are areas that we need to improve upon. Like you said, Ignacio, you're a father. And I don't think parents should ever be surprised at what's happening at their public school. We need better communication. We need administrators in our public schools to share more about their vision, their goal, what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish, and have that back and forth with the parents, the taxpayers, and other stakeholders in their school districts. And too often that doesn't happen. And we need to change that environment. And right now it seems we're so busy in talking over each other, right? Like, this is what I want. And the school is saying, well, we need to do it this way because one, the law requires it, or we think this is the best way to educate our children. And we can have respectful disagreements, but I don't even think we're there yet. I think that there's just this lack of communication, and that just creates a distrust. We've got to address that first.
Right, and you mentioned something that is super interesting to me, and we tended to actually speak over each other, and it happens a lot, and I don't know, it feels like it's a perspective of entitlement that we all do have, that we want to speak our own truth and nothing but the truth, but us as conservatives, we tended to seek for the actual truth, and at least I feel that I feel that we do have the truth now. So do you think that the current perspectives in school districts have a bias?
I'm sure somewhere there's some teachers. Let me say this. I have, since making the decision to run for the State Board of Education, I have met hundreds of teachers, school administrators, even individuals that work in the lunchroom, right? I mean, that whole spectrum of people in public education. And I can tell you that almost everyone I have met, they love what they do. They are committed to following the policies of the state. A teacher can't walk into the classroom and just say, this is what I want to teach today. There are policies that are written that they're supposed to follow. And in my experience, Ignacio, I think 95, 98% do exactly that, or they want to do that, right? They want to do the right thing.
Of course.
And are there some who may be out there and they have their own agenda, their own perspective, and they're trying to force that? It happens. And when it does, there should be accountability. But again, I think that most want to do it. But in my experience, I think the greatest frustration now is
Mhm.
parents are just, they feel that they really don't know what's happening in the classroom.
And that's important. Yeah.
It is because perception guides reality. And if
Yeah.
their perception is we don't know what's happening, there's this angst, there's this frustration, there's this uncertainty. And then, of course, when parents approach teachers and educators and ask what's happening, it's understandable. When teachers are asked this question all the time, they feel like, well, wait a second, why don't you trust me? Like I've been doing this for 10 years, 15 years. All of a sudden, and sometimes they're asked in a way that's hostile, that's demeaning, and I can see they're professionals. They have invested their lives, right? They went to college for these degrees to go in and make a difference in the lives of our kids. And so I
Mhm.
truly believe that uh, it starts with communication, because communication builds trust, and with
Agree.
trust you have opportunity. um, like you mentioned SEL, the social
Mhm.
emotional learning.
Right.
And I'm asked all the time, well, Joe, where do you stand on SEL? And I share this story. I was in the third grade, and my mom knows this because she had to come to school so many times because I was a troublemaker, and she had to meet with the principal and
Uh-huh.
convince them to let me stay. And I had a third grade teacher, Mrs. Thomas, who, and Ignacio, I'm sure you've had a teacher like, she just changed my life.
Mhm.
She didn't look at me as a number. She didn't look at me as a troublemaker, even though that was, the reputation I had. Um, she looked at me as a young boy with potential,
Of
and
course.
took the time to uh, walk me through some of the struggles I was having, uh, and it changed my life. It changed my
Mm.
trajectory, and it made such a difference in my life that for a long time, several of my online passwords
Mhm.
incorporated her name Thomas into those passwords. Now, ever since I started sharing this story, I've changed my password, so it's no longer there. But it it was amazing, and you could look at that today and say, well, that's SEL, right? She wasn't teaching him math. She wasn't teaching him arithmetic or reading or writing. She was
Mhm.
really trying to help me. Uh, and school, we place these 35, 40 students in front of a teacher. And she is like a field officer in that classroom. She has to deal not only with the education of these kids,
Uh-huh.
but she's also dealing with broken homes. She's also dealing with parents that are not engaged, and maybe parents that are that feel they should be teaching the class. And there's this tremendous balancing that takes place, and they do that every day.
Mhm.
So I think that's why communication is important, because when people say, well, you're for or against SEL, my response is always, let's talk about what we mean when we say that, right? Because
Mhm.
I don't think we should go in and supplant the parent. I don't think we should have the education establishment dictating,
Yeah.
uh, become the primary provider of values or what should or shouldn't be done. But they're forced to deal with these issues, because they're
Mhm.
with our kids for several hours a day. But you and
Mhm.
we can talk because we know each other. And even if we disagree, we leave knowing, hey,
Yeah.
we both want what's best for our kids and our community. And I think if we really sat down and we really got to know each other, we would come to that same conclusion 90% of the time with the educators, administrators, and teachers.
Yeah, and you mentioned something very important. Communication is definitely key. for success, regardless of where you are. I mean, if you're in business or if you're in politics, if you are, in your own families, communication is definitely the way that you're going to go far. And I appreciate you mentioning that, and that gives us a great sense of what you really want to accomplish once you get in the Board of Education here in the state of Utah. I have seen a lot of complaints, from other individuals that get into office. They party all the time, with people when they want to be elected and things like that. But then once they're in office, communication gets, cut. And that happens a lot. So. Yeah, definitely keeping the channels of communication open is definitely something that has to be out there. And well, as far as commenting on the social emotional learning, it's well, yeah. I mean, obviously, we all are different in our own perspectives, and also, our ways of learning. And well. Yeah, I guess that's going to be like another topic for another day, right?
Yeah, and Ignacio, but that's just it. It's the opportunity to discuss this because remember, every time you introduce a new concept, whether it's social emotional learning or the latest and greatest Common Core math, whatever it is that you are trying to introduce into the curriculum, you're taking away from something else, right? So
Yeah.
if we're going to
Oh
teach
yeah.
this, well, are we giving up reading time? Are we giving up math time? Are we giving up gym time? And so there really has to be a thorough weighing of the scales to see, is this may be good, but is it
Hmm.
worth giving up math time for?
Exactly.
And sometimes I don't think we're factoring that in enough. And uh, I believe we need to try the new,
Hmm.
but we need to vet the new so when it's introduced, we know exactly this is the expectation. This is what we want to see happen. And if it doesn't
Hmm.
happen, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
So, sorry to interrupt there. So, gosh, it just keeps bringing to mind. Um, I don't know, like the powers of the school districts. And this comes along with what I mentioned in the very beginning. Are they biased? Because we do have quite a bit of things that are trying to be injected into our kids. And one of those things is that the CRT that proclaims that if you are white, you're supposed to be the oppressor, and if you are from another race, then you are the oppressed. You know what I mean? So there is something out there, and maybe you've heard of it. It's called the Panorama Surveys.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you this because actually one of my kids actually brought that up to me, and he showed us the survey to my wife and I, and I don't know, it was not, well, it was not as disturbing, but it was subtle. Does that make sense? Those questions were very subtle, like I don't know, like do you play with somebody that's not from your own race, or things like that. I think those questionnaires should not be even introduced into our kids educational system. But what do you think about Panorama and what they're trying to do?
I'll even answer it in a broader sense by saying I think there is too much demand on our schools with all these tests that they're required to administer. I've spent the last several months meeting with principals, teachers, Yesterday, I was at the Utah Military Academy, a great charter school
Mm-hmm.
in Riverdale, and they have a campus in Lehigh. And again, one of the concerns was there's too much testing, and the testing too often is esoteric. It's what are we really trying to find out from this testing? And Ignacio, I ask these principals and teachers, when was the last time these results came out that you noticed a change in the way things were done? And it's all too rare. So we're taking these tests, we're getting the results, but then what? If we're
Uh-huh.
not going to rely on them to make changes, why are we administering the test? And then the data collection. Uh, there's absolutely, um, I think the burden is
Well,
on the people that
yeah.
want that data. They need to show by clear and compelling evidence why this information is absolutely essential for Johnny or Sally to read better, to do better math. And too often, as a people now, I'm blaming us. I'm right. We say,
Uh,
well, these experts in New York or Washington, D.C., they've come up with this test. They're telling us this is the best way to improve education. And we bring out the giant rubber stamp and we're like, okay. I don't think that's the standard. I think the standard is show us by
yeah.
clear and convincing, compelling argument and evidence that this information is needed so Johnny and Sally can learn better in their school. And if they can't, we shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, that's the exact answer that I was actually expecting. So thank you. You definitely are on spot on and on point in regards of this, and it is dangerous. It is a very dangerous to put out there as much as information as possible from our children and their way of thinking, their way of how they do things, and yeah, too much. I hate testing. I don't, growing up, it was all about, obviously, like we would have one test like once a month or every 2 months and things like that. And I mean, for what? I mean, what exactly do you want to know? I don't know. And I'm a firm believer of the one fit does not fit all.
Yes.
Because we all are different individuals and we learn in different ways, and I mean it's a system. It's a system, and it's a plan, and it's creepy. I mean, if you go deep down on the reasons why they want all this information, oh my goodness. And I'm sure what I'm talking about, with all of the digging and things like that. They just want to just infiltrate our society and bring us down, because that's what China wants. What's the difference between teaching what China is currently doing is they are teaching their children, their boys, to be more masculine. They're teaching their children to fight more, to fight better, and to learn strategies of war. And whereas here in the US, those people with influence, they spend a lot of money in Panorama, and they influence our local educational system, and they try to inject into our children like gender identities, and to shut down masculinity, and things like that. So does that make sense? Like if you balance things out, is like, what does this tell you? The enemy really wants us weak.
And Ignacio, I will say this that, and you said this earlier, and I think this is the key, which is one, you can opt out of testing. And if I don't mind a test that's trying to see, okay, did Joe learn that 2 + 2 is 4, right? If you want to test me on the skill, I understand that. But you're right. There is this introduction of uh, my daughter. She came home from school one day and she started counting all the shoes we had in our house.
Mm-hmm.
And so I said, Emily, what are you doing? Because she's going from closet to closet with a paper and pencil. And she says, I'm counting all the shoes we have in the house. And I said, oh, what class? Why? And she's like, well, the assignment was basically to show that in the United States, we have waste from abundance when there's kids all over the world that don't have enough shoes.
Mm.
And that was a math class assignment. And you're right. Is there something wrong with understanding that when you're blessed with abundance, you have a responsibility to help others and to not waste? No, that's a good lesson, but I don't think that's the lesson they were
Mm-hmm.
trying to draw from the exercise. Right?
Exactly.
I think it was well, maybe in America we have too much, and maybe we do need to, but
Spread out.
that's not the place for that lesson, right? The place for that lesson is around the dinner table, it's around the breakfast table, it's for that family to decide. And things like that, I think, again, it's not the place for that, what I call directional learning, right? Let's
Mm-hmm.
teach them. I always say, teach them how to think. And then they'll come to their own conclusions. I get it. It's dangerous to teach kids how to think because they may end up thinking differently than mom and dad, right?
Yeah.
But it's still the right way to go, because if we sit there and tell them what to think and how to think, they're never ready for that next big step. So the best thing we can do, I think, in our families and in our schools is provide that atmosphere, provide that environment of teaching children how to think, not what to think.
What to think?
And they'll come to their own conclusions. They really will. Finally, Ignacio, I just wanted to say that when I went to this Utah Military Academy,
Uh-huh.
It's a charter school, and charter schools are part of our public education system. But to watch these students who made the voluntary choice with their parents and may have said, you know what, we need a little bit more. Their mission is integrity, service, excellence. And they have a very structured environment to make sure that happens. And to watch that take place, to watch these students benefit from that environment. So
Mm-hmm.
you're right, one size doesn't fit all. And Utah has a robust and growing choice opportunity in terms of, if this school isn't working, let's find the school that really is. And I would encourage parents to take a look at that and take a look at their opportunities, because at the end of the day, we get one shot, right, raising our kids. And we've got to make sure that we present them with the best opportunities for them. I met one dad and his one dad and mom, and they had one child in private school. They had two in public school. They were homeschooling one. It was amazing. And they said we needed to find the best environment
Mm-hmm.
for each of our children. And we know children are different. And that's what we need to do for all of our students here in Utah.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Yeah, definitely. The blessing of the choice, that we have as parents, definitely is, yeah, it's a blessing, and it is a privilege that we have to be here in the United States of America, because we are free to choose, where we want to take our children. And yeah, thank you so much for those remarks. So we will go ahead and go to a commercial break. And then we will be right back. And remember, this is the Nacho Show.
Nacho Graphics is a professional graphic design company that offers unlimited graphic design services to small, medium, and large businesses. We pride ourselves on providing high-quality, affordable design services that are customized to meet the specific needs of our clients. Our team of talented designers is passionate about creating unique, eye-catching designs that will help your business stand out from the competition. Whether you need a new logo or marketing materials, we will work with you to create a custom solution that fits your needs and exceeds your expectations. At Nacho Graphics, we understand that each company has different graphic design needs. That's why we offer an unlimited graphic design service that can be customized to fit the specific needs of your business. We believe that great design should be accessible to all businesses, regardless of size. So, if you're looking for a graphic design company that can provide you with high-quality custom designs at an affordable price, look no further than Nacho Graphics. Contact us today to learn more about our unlimited graphic design services and how we can help your business grow. Check out our website, www.nachographics.com, or call 801-869-0523.
As a small business owner, you know that having a website is crucial to your success. But what you may not know is that designing and developing a website can be expensive. That's where Solidify Web comes in. Solidify Web offers affordable website design and development that will produce a website that is clean and tailored to fit your business needs. Plus, we offer search engine optimization services to help you obtain top rankings for your desired search terms, driving qualified leads to your site. Creating a website for your business is one of the most important things you can do in today's economy. Your website is your storefront and first impression for many potential customers. It is crucial that you have a clean, fresh, and well-designed website that represents your business the best way possible. We can create a stunning website for you that is both easy to use and navigate and ranks high in search engines. Contact us today to learn more about how we can help you take your business to the next level. As a physician, Dr. Robinson personally treated thousands of patients for their accident-related injuries, and as such, has an in-depth understanding of your physical complaints and injuries. It was at this time that Dr. Robinson discovered the difficulties of dealing with auto insurance companies. We know how difficult it can be for someone to handle their own case. Our personal injury law firm is dedicated to helping others navigate the difficulties involved in auto accident injuries, slip and fall injuries, brain injuries, trucking accidents, dog bite injuries, pedestrians and wrongful death cases. Why handle it alone? You can now have a law firm with not only legal experience, but also medical experience. Our attorneys and staff are focused on achieving the best possible outcome for you. Get what you deserve. At the Robinson Injury Law, you will be able to speak directly with your attorney. You may be just a number with other law firms and auto insurance companies, but at Robinson Injury Law, your case is our priority. Robinson Injury Law. Helping accident injury victims is all we do. Call today for a free consultation to see if you have a case. Utah 801-845-HURT-4878.
The Elliott Group Way is a philosophy to elevate the merchant services industry and increase the trust factor between merchants and processors by offering consultative, local, and proactive customer care to help you grow your business and to reach your goals. We do things differently around here. Not only do we provide top-level products and services that work, we are your partner and ensure you affordable merchant services with our best rate guarantee. On top of that, we offer next-day funding so you can have peace of mind knowing your money will be in the bank quickly. When you choose EMG, you're choosing a partner that cares about your success. Let us show you the EMG way today. We also offer next-day funding so you can get your money as soon as possible. In addition, we offer a cash discount program so you can save money on your merchant services. So, if you're looking for an effective merchant services company that can provide you with low fees, contact us today to learn more about our merchant services at 801-362-2968.
All right, and welcome back to the Nature Show. And we are here with Joseph Kerry and his mom Noelle. Well, in this next segment, we're gonna go ahead and talk about more about Joseph's mom and how she came into the United States of America. And yeah, I'm super excited to know more about her story and how she made it. And I don't know, I just yeah, I'm super excited about this. Noel, are you can hear us, right?
Yes,
Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. So, what year did you come to the U.S. though? When did you arrive?
1965.
Oh, 1965. So that was when um, I always forget the name, but can you talk to us some more about your experience on what made you think that what what made you what drove you to be here in the United States?
Well, this country is a land of opportunity.
Uh
So
huh.
you come here, you can spread your wings. And I met my husband. Yeah.
She's not a woman of many words. She gets
Oh, okay.
to the point. So
Okay, so you came in 67. Okay, and that's fantastic. So the did you know anything about the United States when you were in North Korea?
No, never heard until
Never heard of
war
it.
started.
Okay, so were there any books that talked about it, or well, mostly all of the books were about King Jong
And,
King Jong Un, right?
yeah, Kim Il Sung.
Kim Il
Kim.
Sung was the
Kim Il
president.
Sung
Yeah.
was notes.
Uh huh.
So I was born in North Korea, right the other side of Soviet parallel. And my father graduated from Yonsei University, which found off from this country missionary, I think Dr. Underwood.
Uh huh.
And when he graduated, of course, we are under Japanese occupation,
Uh huh.
and he got graduated, and they drafted all graduate students to serve, help Japanese who were fighting to China. And he went, of course, this one is later found out. Anyway, he went all the way border of China, and then, of course, Japan lost the war. So Japanese took all their people, all the Japanese soldiers, all that, but the other people just left behind.
Mm-hmm.
And my father at that time had the Japanese uniform which fighting China, and somehow he was in China. So I don't know how he got it, but someone gave him the Chinese custom, so he changed.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, my my mother's story. She's at home waiting her husband to come, and we lived a very small town, so more likely all the relatives were there, and everyone came back except my father. So she thought he was gone. He was dead probably during the war. So she given up on him,
Mm-hmm.
and almost many months later, this woman came to my father saying, "Look, come out, your husband is coming." So she went out and she saw this man was the beggar looks. So obviously he walked from China and then he walked home. She didn't tell me all the details, so he came home. And he I think then that maybe Communist Party was starting, so he went to another town, the bigger city. There he was having bookstore, and my
Mhm.
mother thinks that he has a bookstore, but he was having meeting anti-communist behind that store. So, long story short, one day, this I was playing outside. I saw my father walking between two gentlemen. So
Mhm.
I asked him. I said, "Father, where are you going?" And he said, "Oh, I will be back soon." That was my last I saw him. And they took him. My didn't tell my mother where he's at, and she didn't have any information. So she thought maybe they just
Mhm.
killed him. And months later, uh, she found out they sent him to Xin'eju, which is at the borderline with China, way north.
Mhm.
So she went. She didn't have enough money, so she scraped and she
Mhm.
went there by train, and it was a winter, very very cold, and she went there, saw him, and first the thing he asked her, "How is the Munja Fichimi? How is our daughter Munja doing?" And he said, "I'm okay, so don't worry." That was the last she saw him.
Mhm.
And she was coming out. There was a dip in the mountain. It was a kind of dark, and there were any no road, so she really didn't know which way to come out of that place. And she heard the people's voice, and then she met them, and they are walking at the mine, same place my father was working. So she told them why she's there, and then they comforted her, saying, "Once we get into the mine, working prisoners and just us, we get treated all the same. So like, don't worry too much." And
Mhm.
she walked with them town. There is a town, but just a few houses, and but there was someone like a kind of inn. So she went there, and she had her feet was all the water blisters. So she asked
Mhm.
the owner, like, "Can I have a needle and thread?" And so she popped all thing, all the
Mhm.
blisters. And Actually, she didn't have enough money, just she
Hmm.
had the ticket and just a little money. So she didn't tell me. So I have a feeling probably she ate at the bare minimum. So
Hmm.
so she came home and we were living like way in the country, but she came
Hmm.
out to little city. I think I said the same story. Anyway, she came there and she was working, I guess, for the North Korean government. They are planting the trees. So she went there and they give just uh, enough for money you can live
Hmm.
on. So she worked there, but she said she enjoyed it because most people working there are same situation. They lost a husband and women are there working.
Oh, uh-huh.
Yeah, and I really cannot tell you how many months or what. Um, our house, and then not far from there was I, if I remember correctly, they said it was a school, but Russians are coming there, and the
Hmm.
word goes around. You have to hide your shoes because at night those Russians are stealing your shoes.
Oh.
Because the Korean custom, we take off shoes outside and go in. But
Hmm.
anyway, so
Wait, Mom. It seems like Ignacio had a question.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna ask if all of these happened in Pyongyang. Is that where you grow up,
No,
or was that
this
the outskirts?
is uh, from Pyongyang. It's south, but close 38 parallel. So we are still under the
Oh,
communist government. Yeah. So
oh, okay.
yeah. So that's why this is before really war started. So we were there. And one day, my uncle, which my mother's brother, came. For that time, I thought that so many people, but I think of a few people came and said, "Can you cook for us?" They brought all the rice. So
Uh-huh.
my mother cooked, and meanwhile, my aunt, my father's brother's wife, visiting my mom. So anyway, we cooked, had the dinner next morning. My uncle said, "Okay, you get on the truck, just
Mm.
maybe a couple of months, we're gonna go to North because there is going to be war, but it's not gonna last long." So we came to South. We got in the truck, and then we are passing this field. I heard the people said, "Oh, there is a 38 parallel," but you know, I didn't know that time what the 38 parallel means. So they are closing. So we just
Mm.
probably last one came more likely out.
Uh-huh. So, so okay. So from that point on, so how did you make it to the U.S.? So did you go? Did you take a ship, or how did that happen? So did you arrive to?
I didn't come here directly, so we came to South, which my father, my grandfather living,
Oh,
and
in South Korea.
yes, because he said if I go big city, maybe he can hear my father's news.
Uh,
You know, so we came to South, and then of course was started right after we came, like maybe
Hmm.
a couple of months later. From then we had hand carts, and we are walking, and we are in Korea. We have mountains just up and down, not like your long ones. So
Hmm.
I remember we had the two hand carts started. So took whatever we needed, we took. And this one, and the hand cart was all lined up. And we are middle, and one mountain behind us, front of us, they are shooting the with the tank, the big,
Oh
and
wow.
we hear sound and whistle over us and explode the other side of a mountain. And later, someone said the regions they are doing it from south to north because they want to protect us in between.
Yeah.
It's getting close to us, so they're bombing them. So anyway, one night, so we are like, who knows, the lines of people going to south. And one night we found to sleep this house, and not big bomb, but we hear gunshot, gunshooting, all that. So we
Hmm.
we all got up, and I don't know how my mother found me because there are so many people in the place. So
Oh.
from that on, so each place that you go, you too many luggages. So that on, we have just the bag of their bag enough to sleep our blankets because we have to sleep outside. And
Oh.
I asked her, we didn't have enough food to last how we lived. And she said that they set the station. When you left your house coming to South, they give you a card. And after so much you go, they give you the rice to eat, the ration. So that's how we live.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
um, my mother said that there were just the bodies you can see, but I said, but I didn't see it. And she was to make sure I don't see the body. Yeah.
Right. So when you came over into the United States, did you arrive in California or any other port?
Actually, I we came to Seoul. I was going to school, and friend of mine said, "Oh, do you want to
Oh.
learn English?" So I said, "Yeah, great." So he brought this American soldier, and so we are learning English, and I married to him.
Ah, fantastic. And then here's Joseph giving you trouble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that is fantastic. Yeah, this is definitely a fantastic story though. I appreciate stories like this though, because it just makes me I don't know. Well, I'm an immigrant, as well, and these great stories just inspire me a lot more to keep doing what I'm doing. And one thing that I always mention in all of my podcast episodes and also when I speak in public, I always say that the United States of America was created the exact same way that God created the earth. And I'm going to tell you how. When God created the earth is so we can plant seeds, and when you plant the seed and then you fertilizer and you put water to this seed, that seed is going to grow, and it's going to be a nice plant that's going to give you fruit, and it's going to give you a nice outcome, and you can live from it. The United States of America was built exactly the same way. Okay, you come into America, and you plant your roots, you plant your seed, and the United States of America does not care what race you are. It doesn't care where you're from. When you come here, you succeed. Obviously, you have to, you know, do your part. You have to exercise all of your beliefs and everything like that, and then that way you will grow. And that's why I love the United States of America. And Joseph, I am with you, 100% here, and I will keep fighting here with you, shoulder to shoulder, to keep America in the great country that it is. And I support you, and I sustain you in what you're currently doing. And November is the big day, right? November is election day.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And thank you for that, Ignacio. It means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I encourage others to do the same. Talk to Joseph. He will be very happy to talk to you about his plans and everything. So thank you so much, Noel. Thank you so much, Joseph, for being here on my show. It was definitely a great honor, and I salute both of you for being brave and everything that you guys do. And thanks everybody here for being at the Nacho Show. And remember, this is the Nacho Show here from the beautiful Ogden, Utah, and we will see you next time.